Good afternoon, everybody. Wee Paddy from across the shuck. How yous all doing? And yeah, I've been a bad boy. I got another Northwoods, and but I did not spend money. I traded. I have traded a stack this week, and I have three or four really joyful knives that I want to show you. But this is the first one, and this has got it's a wee bit of a history with it, and I've done a wee bit of research. You know, I'm not great at research, but I do my best. But this is about Northwood knives, and they didn't always just happen to be knife ship free and Derek Bone. There was Northwoods before that, and it was owned by a man called Dave Shipley. I've done it again. Dave Shirley. I made this whole video and called this man Dave Shipley the whole way through the video. So I had to stop it, call myself a name, and restart. And that's when you know you love your knives. So it's Dave Shirley. If I slip up again, I'm not changing it. So yes, Dave Shirley owned Northwood Knives. He started it. I think it was back in the maybe middle late 80s or whatever. I'm not too sure on the dates, but he started with fixed blades, and he had a man who a knife maker who made fixed blades for him. Not sure who that was. I haven't found that out. But he made his fixed blades for him, and he sold them under the Northwood name. Eventually changed to getting slip joints, and he used uh, Queen knives to make his slip joints. And Queen at that time were making the best, or some of the best, production knives out there. When I say production, they were handmade knives anyway. Do you know what I mean? Not so much production as what we think of now, and our modern knives. They were handmade knives by artisans, and they were making the best around. So he had used them to make his Northwood knives and built up the reputation for having fantastic knives with quality that was brilliant. And this is the way they used to come. And this is why I had to get this, because I'm fascinated with the history. I know I don't say a lot about it, but I love reading up about it in my own time. Uh, no, we'll get into that another day. But anyhow, I'm enjoying now reading up and learning more and more about the knives. They're not just something pretty anymore that I want to have. I'm really interested in the background to them. So this is the way the box used to come. It's just a really straightforward little box. Nowadays, when Knife Ships Free and Derek Bone, who bought Northwoods, the Northwoods name from Dave Shirley, you get the leather ship. There's different varieties of them. You'll get the little coin with the Northwoods emblem on it, which is a real modern version, of a really nice knife. So I'll take them out of the way. And the boxes. Sorry, here, I'll show you at the end of the box. This is the only other thing on it. It's the gunstock. It's in brown Italian jig bone. And when you see this jig bone, you wouldn't even have to be told it's Italian, because it looks like Italian. It is so classy. It's really, really beautiful. So, here it is. Look at that. It's the gunstock model. You can see that shape of the gunstock there. Really, really well done. And that jigging, as I said, look at that. Look how fine and beautiful the jigging is on that. There's not many knives now come out with jigging that is that classy. That really is a beautiful, beautiful knife. And the fit and finish, let me tell you, there's the backspring. You'll not get tighter springs. They're just beautiful. Look at the bottom of the knife, the base of the pommel, or whatever you want to call it, but it's just so beautifully done. The terminus here at the edge is perfect. The blades are down the center, or as close to down the center as you're ever going to get or need. It is just so beautifully done. Lovely clean knife, nice ends, bolster at either end. Just a classic, a classic. You've got the two blades on it. You have the main blade, which is a clip blade, which is just a flat ground clip blade, which is not the same as the modern Northwoods now, although they have done a couple of patterns with the flat blade, harping back to that old tradition. But it's just beautiful. This was the Northwoods Arrow Shield, which I just love. I have another name for it, but I'm not going to say it because it upsets people. And there we go. And you have a pen blade, which is off that. I mean, just listen to this wee pen blade. Just the retention is beautiful on the pen blade as well as the main blade. It is just gorgeous. So it's a beautiful knife. And I mean, I can go on and keep ranting and raving how beautiful it is, but really that's not the story of this knife. I got this knife for my collection because Northwoods was made by two different people. And I wanted to show the comparison between the older model of Northwoods that was made by Queen. Although Dave Shirley himself was a bit of a character, I believe. He didn't exactly tell people who made his knives. Most people knew Queen had some part in it. They maybe made a little bit, but apparently Derek Bone has said that no, Queen made his knives and that was it. And the one of them, the head men at Queen, now owns GEC. So Queen back then, when that young fella, and we'll talk about him in another video, was in charge of making the knives, they were some of the best traditional knives being made, just like GEC is now. So when Derek Bone bought these over, I think he did do Queen a couple of times, but then he changed to GEC for most of his production knives. And GEC, with the young man who was at Queen's here, now owns GEC, was making the knives for Northwoods. And that's why the standard of them now is every bit as good as what it was back then. Because I believe the same person was in charge of the production line. This is a beautiful I've showed you this one before. This is a Michigan Jack, and that's where Northwoods originated from. Gladstone, Michigan. I can't say that. Michigan. That's it. Got it. uh, that's the way we're made. They're now in. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. It's Olte, Ultwa, Tennessee. Is it Tennessee? No. Oh, I've forgotten where it is. Could be. I think it might be Tennessee, but that's where Northwoods are made now. Two beautiful examples of the knives, two different eras in the Northwoods history, made by two different people. Derek Bone didn't want to just take this knife and then just replicate it over on his version of Northwood, so he made them different. He made them with a saber grind. Most of them are saber grind, and he left the heat treatment. You can see on the top here and round the ricasso here, the heat treat was left on. This has been used and cleaned off and used, and it's starting to fade already, but you can still see this is a working knife for me. I love this. When I got it, I said, yeah, I'll probably use it. I haven't stopped. This is one of my favorite knives to carry. The Wharncliffe on this is just beautiful because you have that real point that can get to any knife. You know, no other knife would get better than that. That is just a great point for ripping and tearing. I absolutely love this knife. Not good for a steak, but for everything else, pretty good. Beautifully made knife. This, and I'll take this away now, this size-wise is a bit bigger than the Michigan Jack. It's a boy's 15 pattern. This is the number 29 Stockyard Whittler, one of my favourite GEC. This is the Northwoods, which is the higher end of the Northwoods models, or the GEC models. Northfield, sorry, did I say Woods? Northfield. But there's the difference between now and back then. The swedge on this Northfield and the long pull just lifts this knife above the average knife out there, because there's not many that are doing them to that standard, which is beautiful. I do like this plain. It doesn't have to be a long pull or whatever. I like a traditional knife to just look like a traditional knife. But to me, there's nobody like GEC does that clip. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful to have. So we've done the size, we've talked about the bone, and you can't you? You can nearly tell that's Italian. Let me just bring this up to you. And there we go. Northwoods knives, Gladstone, Michigan. Oh, gosh, I can't say it. USA. It is just, I can't tell you how much I love this knife. Just a fit and finish off it just makes you excited when you see something like this. Now, they cost and you're going to pay for them. Well, that's part of it. You know, I mean, You can't be a car lover and run about with a Volkswagen Beetle all your life. You have to upgrade. And I'm upgrading and I'm enjoying every moment of it. I have another couple of really beautiful high-end custom-made slip joints that I'm going to show you over the next week or so. But this, just for the history of the two knives and what Derek has done, Derek Bone has done to the Northwoods now, he has moved them on completely in his own way. And that's how you do something. Copying only lasts so long. You have to be innovative to move along the way. And this is innovative. Now, if anybody could tell me this was made by Queen, I would say that it's D2, but I'm not 100% sure. I know GEC and Northwoods are made with 1095, but if you do know what this is made from, I believe it's D2, but I'm not sure. Let me know. I'd be really, really appreciative of it. So there you go. Paddy's going to go and leave you. This is the second time I made this full video. I hope I've said Dave Shirley's name right all the way through. Take care, folks. All of our best. Paddy's gone.